about this Einstein book. There's a lot that I've been reading out of it. One thing in particular that sticks out is on page 67. I'll go ahead and read it to you. Alright, two things. The squabbles show that Einstein had no qualms about challenging those in power. In fact, it seemed to infuse him with glee, as he proclaimed to Jost Winseler in the midst of his disputes that year, quote, "Blind respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth," end quote. It would prove a worthy credo, one suitable for being carved in his coat of arms if he had ever wanted such a thing. His struggles that year also reveal something more suitable about Einstein's scientific thinking. He had an urge, indeed a compulsion, to unify concepts from different branches of physics. It is a glorious feeling to discover the unity of a set of phenomena that seem at first to be completely separate. He wrote to his friend Grossman as he embarked that spring on an attempt to tie his work on capillarity to Boltzmann's theory of gases. That sentence, more than any other, sums up the faith that underlay Einstein's scientific mission. From his first paper until his last scribbled field equations, guiding him with the same sure sense that was displayed by the needle of his childhood compass. So essentially, he wanted to unify concepts from different branches of physics. I think that's the most noble goal if you're going to be doing science, is to try to connect them, to find ideas that are similar to each other, to try to put it all together into cohesive patterns, kind of like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Only not a 2D puzzle where the pieces only have one place that they could fit, but more or less pieces that can change the orientation and the way they fit even, and inside of three-dimensional structures. He wants to unify physics, the concepts inside of physics. I was incredibly lucky. I didn't know this was going to happen to me. But the seemingly unrelated objects, they're not processes, I don't think, but the seemingly unrelated objects, star and planet, were actually one and the same. Now, what that did was I was like, oh shit, they're actually the same thing. The planet is the evolved star. Boom. It was a great unification of the two objects when I realized the process of stellar evolution and planet formation are the same thing. The entire world opened up to me. I did not at the time realize that that concept, that discovery, would allow people to connect chemistry with biology, with geology, with astronomy, and with physics. So Einstein is just looking at the physics aspects. Okay, how do physics concepts tie into each other? But from my standpoint, it wasn't tying together physics concepts, it was tying together the sciences themselves with an overreaching theory. With a theory that can bridge the ideas together, that can bridge biology with seemingly unrelated astronomy, or biology with seemingly unrelated geology, or with chemistry with geology, or the biggest one, geology with astronomy. As we all know, Earth is the astronomical object. It's floating around outer space, just so you know. But that point there, as well as the first point, blind respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. And I see that a lot inside of academia. What happens is these people, they can't speak up. They can't say what's on their mind. They have to always go with what their professors say is true about the world, or else their career will be in jeopardy. But respect for authority in a blind sense is not the way to go. If you have something that you want to speak up about, you should speak up about it. Don't keep quiet. But as well, I've been learning here that Einstein isn't very tactful when he questions these authoritative people. You should do it with tact. And, you know, of course, I learned that in the military. If you're going to correct a superior or somebody who's been there, done that, you have to make sure that you do so in a light that doesn't offend them. It doesn't make them lose face. But as I'm learning here, Einstein, he's very unrefined in his beginning years of trying to work on molecular theories and things like that. Also, another note, I had scribbled this down, this random idea that came to mind. He should have stayed with the molecule thing. He should never have gone into math and lost his way into field equations, because that was a dead end that he went down. Unfortunately, history has it that he just went off into general relativity, la la land, and nothing else has come of it. He should have kept the molecular thing, because he should have kept the molecular thing, and he should have looked at the stars with the most gravitation, and he should have looked down at the Earth with gravitation, and he should have made the connection between those two, because what happens inside a star is that the elements combine into molecules on vast scales, and that's where the discovery should have been made. That's where the major connecting idea should have been made. But instead, what happened is that Einstein became this guru character, this face of what science is supposed to look like, and we've been on a 100-year detour thinking that somehow math brings understanding. No, math doesn't bring understanding. Math is the cart. The horse brings understanding. The horse is conceptualization. It's qualitative understanding of nature. Heat is a qualitative thing. Gravitation is qualitative. Light is qualitative. They're not math. They're not mathematical. Mathematical is something that we invented to measure things, to make measurements with. It's not the tip of the spear. It's not the leading idea here. The leading ideas are much different. But anyways, if he would have just gone with what he was becoming more familiar with, maybe he would have made the necessary discovery in order to connect the sciences together themselves, and he probably would have got a lot of joy out of that. But instead, he got sucked into the mathematical crowd, and well, the greatest discovery slipped between his fingers. But hopefully my listeners can understand that. And I also suggest reading this book. There's a lot of stuff in here I don't want to overview. I'd rather people learn on their own how things actually went down and interpret it in their own light. Today is May 4th, 2016.